Welcome to Womenomics. I am Linda Pringle Evans, your host, and we are here always for empowering women's economic growth and sustainability. That's what we are all about, ladies. Today, I am so excited to be bringing a specialist to our audience. This is going to be an amazing show, ladies. I can promise you that. But before I introduce her, I always thank Pringle Business Consulting for being our premier sponsor, who makes this possible for me to be able to share these episodes with you and these amazing guests that we have each and every Thursday. So again, I want to thank Pringle Business Consulting because Pringle serves women entrepreneurs and service-based professionals to turn their reputation into revenue through branding, marketing, and PR consulting. That's what we do to make a difference for women. So without further ado, let's talk about what today's topic is: transforming realities, removing the mask. That's right, ladies, you heard me correctly. Dr. Michelle Boone-Thornton is an industry leader in this particular topic. So before I introduce her, I want you to know a little bit about this amazing lady. Dr. Boone-Thornton is an associate chair and tenured professor of human services at St. Leo University. She enjoys integrating her 25 years of experience as a clinician and practitioner in the field of mental health in her speaking engagements, workshops, and classrooms. She is an advocate for vulnerable populations and is actively engaged in efforts to empower and uplift those whose voices, and listen to this, whose voices have been silenced. That's very special to me. Those voices who have been silenced due to oppression, limited resources, mistreatment, and lack of education. I know everyone hearing my voice right now, if it hasn't been you, you know someone who has been impacted. Dr. Boone-Thornton has been employed with residential hospitals and community-based mental health facilities throughout Virginia and Alabama. Dr. Boone-Thornton is registered in the Commonwealth of Virginia to practice as a qualified mental health professional with a specialization in children. Her focus has always been on helping children and their families function at optimum levels at home, in their communities, and academically. Now, Dr. Boone-Thornton has presented in the USA and abroad, echoing her message of transforming your reality, removing the mask. Now, she has a workbook for this particular topic, and we'll share more about the workbook later within this episode. But what I like to do is bring you the one, the only, Dr. Boone-Thornton. Welcome, Dr. Boone-Thornton.
Thank you so much for having me here today. And every time I hear somebody introduce me, I'm thinking, is that me? Is this the little girl from Hampton, Virginia? That's me. Well, it's me. And I hope that I can be of some help to your listeners today.
Oh, I know you're going to be, because the very first question is this: why was it necessary for you to address this topic of transforming realities, removing the mask. Why is that important for you to do that?
It's important because for the most part, all our lives, we have masked our pain and our vulnerability and our hurt. But COVID-19 took this to another level altogether, to a point where people were experiencing so much hurt, pain, grief back to back that we didn't know what to do with it. And so I broke it down throughout the workbook so that you can see exactly why you mask, because there's several reasons. It's not just COVID. Some of it's culturally, some of it's reinforced by society. There are various reasons. And so this workbook helps you walk through it at your own pace, dealing with your own issues and circumstances. So that is why I put the workbook out first before even the companion journal or the self-help book.
Okay. Since this show is about women with an emphasis on women entrepreneurs and service-based professionals, regarding transforming realities, removing the mask, women who really take that quantum leap and step out on faith to do what they love, to do what they feel and know in some situations that this is her purpose and why she decided to start her own business or practice or whatever she may have chosen to do. But as she is in it, then she began to feel she's not capable. She's inadequate. The fear shows up. So do you mind addressing how one can transform the realities and help her to remove the mask of, let's say, self-doubt? Because that's what I sometimes have felt hearing from others, and even myself in the beginning was doubting, even though I felt I had a good service to provide, but there's that doubt. One part of my mind is saying, okay, you can do this, you're capable, you're not inadequate. But then there was this other side saying, who do you think you are? You're fooling yourself. You should have kept that corporate job and been secure and not having to do all what you're doing. You're not capable of doing all of what is necessary to thrive in business. So how would you address that for women who have taken that quantum leap?
Well, first of all, I want the women to know that that is a natural feeling. Anytime we move out of our comfort zone, we're going to feel fearful, self-doubt, low self-esteem. We're going to feel it because we're human and we all have those emotions. But what also happens is our primal instinct to survive. And that comes from our brain. Our brain is going to protect us from anything that it deems to be harmful or hurtful. And so it will go into flight or fright mode, okay? And most of the times we don't have anything to fight but ourselves, and there's nowhere for us to go. And so when we get in that mode, we just bury those emotions. We don't confront them, and we dare not let anybody else see them because we're, in this society of competition. So we don't want others to know this is what we're going through. This is how we're actually feeling. So we not only bury those emotions, but we also bury our authentic self. And so we show to the world the images that we want them to see.
As I was listening to what you were sharing with our audience, the fight or flight mode, and I know for the last 2 years, there's been a lot of people in that particular mode of operation. It's either got to make it happen or fearful that this may be the end. I may become homeless because I was watching the news recently and they were sharing the number of evictions that have occurred across the country. So that does impact our emotions and our feelings, even if you're not someone going through it right now, but you still feel that could be me. Maybe I'm just one step away from what this person is experiencing. So for those who, and I like what you said about being authentic, because with social media, would you agree, has really impacted how people show up thinking this is the way that they must appear so that they get the followers, they get the likes, and helps them to become successful. But that may not be the authentic person that is showing up. Do you mind sharing with our listeners and our viewers how social media can be a good thing, which it can be, but also it can really impact one's authentic self because you're comparing yourself to others.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It forces us to project an image that is not real so that we can fit in with society. Social media keeps us striving for perfection in an imperfect world. Now that in and of itself is an oxymoron.
Oh my.
But we tune into it, like you say, it's part of our livelihoods. It's how people today communicate. So we have to be engaged. It's part of our business. But we have to understand the dangers of social media because we will start to become what we see that's out there. Ordinarily, most of us, we have a little challenge in us. If somebody says you can't do it, oh, we're gonna work and make sure we get it done. If when you achieve it, most of the time we automatically set the next goal because we're on this rat race of it has to be more and more and more. And the reason we feel like it has to be more is because all along our journey to success, we bring with us the images that we portray to social media. But when we receive the success, we blocked all the emotions out. And so your authentic self is not there to receive the love and the joy and the admiration and the atta girls and all that. It just seems so fleeting. I've had people say, Dr. Boone-Thornton, I've worked for this all my life. And when I got in the room with these huge crowds, which is what I wanted, the attention, I felt so alone. It was like I couldn't bring myself to engage. And that's exactly what we're doing.
Wow. As a child, I always heard, there's good and bad, and you have to be careful. And what I'm understanding from you is that when you are positioning, and that's what people are doing with social media, is positioning themselves for whatever the reason may be. In order to be the successful individual that you have been created to become, you must show up as your authentic self, not from the people that you admire. And there's nothing wrong with that. There are people we all admire and we compliment them. But it doesn't mean that we must emulate that person so that we can become successful. I admire Oprah. I love the way she teaches, especially women, about living and she says this, your best life. Yes. Because your best life is not the same as my best life. So if we can stay true to who we are, who we have been created to be, because we all have a DNA that separate us from everybody else. It doesn't mean that this person is better than this person, but it means that this person has been created to perform something unique in this world, whatever it may be. And it's up to us as individuals to discover what it is and make it, as you said a moment ago about challenge, how, sometimes we feel we are challenged. I feel we should be challenged to discover who we are and what we are supposed to do in this world. And today we need everybody to show up their full authentic self. So do you mind sharing some nuggets with everyone about how showing up as your authentic self? What are some of the tips or strategies you can share to help one feel comfortable showing who they are? Because a lot of times we feel we are inadequate, and that's why we don't like showing up as ourselves. But what do you think some of us can do?
Well, there are a couple of things we can do. First, we got to realize and understand that this just didn't happen because of COVID-19 and social media. Many of us have been masking our emotions all our lives. We were taught to do that by well-meaning parents, but some of us were taught to survive and not to succeed. And so when you're taught to survive, a lot of times your emotional concerns are not addressed. I can remember as a child being upset about something that happened in the home, and I was talking to my parent about it, and my mother said, wait a minute, who are you talking to? And I'm like, well, I'm trying to explain to you how I feel. And they was like, no, that's disrespectful. You don't tell me how you feel as if it means anything. But I knew exactly what she meant. She wasn't meaning it for harm. She was actually meaning it because she felt like I had to be tough. I had to survive. I was also, there's like positive toxicity, because people, when you're hurting, you'll go to people. Some people you'll open up to and you'll say, you know what, I am really just struggling with this, that, and the other. And they'll come back and say, girl, be strong. Life is tough. You can do it. All of these phrases don't show you how or give you what you need to open up and address what's actually happening with you. Another thing we do when we're overachievers and we are really striving to make it, we impose a lot of self-stress, okay? We say yes when we should be saying no. We really don't have time for that. We want to help everybody, which is good, but your time constraints, you just don't have it. And so I tell people, don't get involved in things that are one, out of your lane, out of your area, trying to help. Stay focused on your goals. Stay focused on your goals. I know people say, oh, that could be selfish, but you've got to put yourself first. Your emotional wellness is more important than your physical wellness. You will eat right, get your sleep, exercise, get your steps in, do your yoga, do your meditation, all of that. But mentally, what are you doing every day?
That's a good point. One of the things that I've discovered is that when there is physical, you can do things to rest, especially if you're feeling exhausted or fatigued. You can rest, take time for yourself, and you'll feel better. But what I've seen regarding Linda is that the mental, when I am mentally exhausted, it takes a complete toll upon my body. It does. I'm exhausted. I don't think clearly. I don't respond as well as I would when I'm alert and in that good place. So you're absolutely right, the emotional. So how would you share with our viewers what to do when you're in that place of just being mentally exhausted, that emotional exhaustion?
One of the things that I'm going to share, and I also have in the workbook, is just like you take care of yourself physically on a daily basis,
Yes.
you have to do that mentally as well. You have to put some time aside to deal with what you're going through. I'll have a lot of people say to me, Dr. Boone-Thornton, I don't even have time to deal with all that drama right now. I have this, and that to do. But it's the emotional and the mental constructs that support the physical.
Mhm.
People get it backwards. They want to be physically sound and then mentally they can be exhausted every day.
Right.
Well, you can't bring everything you need to bring, and you can't pour into others and yourself if you're exhausted and you're empty.
That's right.
You're empty. And you probably have so much more to give. And your business would even go to the next level if you just do you first.
Yes. Mhm. You know, for me, I start my day every day, 7 days a week, with prayer and meditation. So I can become centered. So I can also receive what it is that Linda has been assigned to do this day. And I'm able to set my expectations for today. I think sometimes we just show up each day and we may have tasks that we have planned to complete, but we just go through the motion. As things occur, we take care of it. But I think when we set expectations, we're telling our mind, okay, this is where I'm going today. So you got to come along with me so we, mind and self, we can get this done. And believing in myself. Am I on the right track with my own
Absolutely.
mental?
You you are on the right track. And I'm glad you said Linda, because for each person, it's going to look different.
Yes.
I have friends, I have people who I work with that said, Dr. Boone-Thornton, I have my faith and I understand that. But, Hebrews 11:1 says faith is the substance of things hoped for.
Yes.
But we have hope busters. Let me tell you what hope busters are, because the hope ignites the faith. But when you have hope busters, self-doubt, low self-esteem, fear, hurt, pain, grief, all of those are hope busters. So that hope is not there to ignite that faith. And so again, you're going through the motions, and you're not getting what you need. What you need. The mind is so unbelievable. And it's to the point where, if you read in your Bible, you'll see where they talk about transformed by the renewing of your mind. That means daily.
Yes.
That means something you do every day. For as he thinketh in his heart, that's what's going to happen. So your mind, you have to now put your mind first. Mm-hmm. You've got to elevate yourself mentally, and everything else will follow, even your true, authentic self.
Elevate mentally. I love it, because when you do that, when we elevate mentally, we're telling ourselves, I can do this. I may have some fear busters, some doubt busters, but guess what? I'm facing them. And when we do that, what I have discovered, we are able to achieve far more than we even thought we could, because we're constantly suppressing what we truly are capable of accomplishing. Because if you've never done it, or If you've done it, but not at the level that's required for you to go, then you're telling yourself, I can't do this. This is too hard. I haven't seen nobody in my family do anything like this. I've never been associated with anyone who has done this. So why would I think I can accomplish it? But why not you?
Absolutely.
You're
Why
different.
not you?
Why not you? Because we all, like I stated in the beginning, we all have our own DNA. That's where that authentic self appears. And I think, Dr. Boone-Thornton, when we allow ourselves to become the fullness of who we are meant to be and not be so concerned about how others are going to feel about us, because we are human, we are. And when people say negative things, of course it's going to impact how you feel. That's a normal, I think it's normal to feel, okay, why would they say that about me? Am I coming across like that? But we have to start believing in ourselves. And when we can believe in who we are, then we can remove the mask. And we do have that renewing of the mind every day, because that's what it takes. It's not a one time or one size fit all. This is something we must do on a daily basis. And I think your workbook is the answer to many, to help individuals. And I'm sure this can be for men and women, correct? Your workbook.
Yes.
They can use this to start their journey to living a better life, to living the life that has been designed for them to live. So if you don't mind, would you share with our audience where they can purchase your workbook so they can begin this journey as well?
Absolutely. The workbook is called Transforming Your Reality, Removing the Mask, and you can purchase it right on Amazon. It'll come right directly to you, or you could also see reviews. I do regular blogs and video recordings about the workbook on my actual website to give you some insight, because not everybody's comfortable with or have used a workbook before. And so my website is Dr. Michelle Boone-Thornton at drmichelleboonethornton.com. And like I said, you could go there. If the workbook information is there, how to use it, how to get plugged in. I also have put in the back of that workbook a resource journal. It's a resources for any type of extra support you may need. I have the National Association of Mental Illness in there, the crisis hotline, the suicide hotline, anything you need. I've also added some assessments, psychological assessments, behavioral assessments, because don't just believe me, do some assessments so you can see where you are on an average scale.
Yes.
And again, don't worry about, oh, there's something wrong and there's something major. Unless you're feeling really overwhelmed, you're going through what everybody else is going through that has just buried their emotions and their feelings. And sometimes when you start to see your authentic self, you're going to like that person better than you like the one you developed through images.
Oh, I love that. And do you have any upcoming engagements that you would like to share with our audience?
Absolutely. Actually, next week, I'll be in Nairobi, Kenya. I'll be on the Global Footprint Tour, Live Your Best Life Global Footprint Tour. I'll be speaking there. I'll be doing a business connector with Kenyatta University in Nairobi. And I'm just looking forward to sharing this message on that continent and this one.
Congratulations. You heard it here. So if you want to really take your life, not business, we're talking your life, because your life is going to impact business as well. But if you're ready to impact your life and to live your best life, purchase Dr. Michelle Boone-Thornton's workbook, Transforming Your Realities and Removing the Mask. You won't regret it. Dr. Michelle, I want to thank you for being here and sharing all this invaluable information with us today. You have truly served us and has been a blessing. And I want to say this, I hope you don't mind. I want this to become a two-part series where this is part one, but I'd like to bring you back later so we can do a part two, because there is so much more that we didn't get to address in this particular episode. So I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And thank you all for who showed up to be here with us today. Have a wonderful and blessed day and enjoy your life, because you only have one life to live. Goodbye.